Well, as I covered at the top of the show, we've seen more of the ugly side of politics, with Peter Dutton branded a racist over his calls for a temporary ban on Palestinian visas over inadequate screening processes. Independent MP Zali Steggall doubled down on her explosive accusation on Sky earlier this morning. Take a look.
And so, yes, it is my view that this is a racist policy. The difficulty Mr Dutton has is he has inferred and implied that all pose a security risk, and that is incredibly discriminatory.
OK, let's bring in the Shadow Attorney General Michaelia Cash. Thank you so much for coming on, Michaelia. This is so highly offensive. I wrote a piece in the paper in the Daily Telegraph on this this morning. It's a racist policy. Sorry, what? Is this based on the colour of their skin, on their ethnicity? No, of course it's not.
Well, Peter Dutton, Erin, has made it very, very clear. This is not about a person's race or religious belief. It's not about a political persuasion. It is about Australia's national security. And Peter Dutton, he will always put the best interests of Australia and our national security first. Mr Anthony Albanese, our Prime Minister, this week has been unable to assure Australians of the security checks that have been undertaken on people coming in from Gaza. Erin, for the last 2 decades, this is an area that has been under the control of a listed terrorist organisation. Our Prime Minister has failed Australians and he stands condemned. And as for Ms Steggall, well, you know a person has no intellectual substance to their argument when they have to resort to name-calling, personal accusations and accusations of racism. Ms Steggall's arguments do not hold any intellectual rigour, but worse than that, they are not in Australia's national security interest. Peter Dutton, you'll always know that as our Prime Minister, he will put Australia and Australians first, and he will not make any excuses for doing that.
Yeah, I agree with you entirely. It's such a cheap shot, and you're right. It shows absolutely no substance to your argument.
If you can't at all,
it's unbelievable, and it's the kind of word that everyone knows. The second you use it, people back down, they disengage, they become afraid because it's so offensive. The thought of people thinking you might be. But I'm so glad that Peter Dutton has come out and said, "I will not be silenced. This is not racism." Good on him, because it's so easy to back down, because it's terrifying, this stuff.
But Erin, what it also shows is, let's be honest here, where does Zali Steggall sit on the political scale? She is a hard left Green, and her electorate need to understand that is the person who represents them.
Michaelia, how dare you? She is an independent. Yeah. She is an independent. How dare you?
She's an independent. So, an independent whose voting record shows exactly where she sits. And the people of Warringah in Australia need to remember, a vote for Zali Steggall is a vote for Anthony Albanese, probably governing with the most left-wing radical Greens this country has ever seen. Well, I can tell you, you know where you stand with Peter Dutton. He will always put Australia and Australians and our national security first. Zali Steggall has shown she won't.